like the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
What a crazy race at the Brickyard as Casey Kane snaps a 3-year winless drought. We welcome you to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. That's Robbie Mays. I'm Tyler Burnett. We're here on the best day of your work week, and that's the last day of your work week, and we thank you for joining us. We're here to talk fantasy racing. Robbie Mays, Casey Kane. I still can't believe that.
Casey Kane. You can say that it was a fluke. You can say it was all the other cars crashed, but at the end of the day, none of that's going to show up in the record book. All that's going to show is Casey Kane won the Brickyard 400 on Sunday afternoon. I feel like, Tyler, that is a crucial moment in his career.
Oh, no question.
He has struggled so much over the last 2 or 3 years. It's just he started well, and then he hasn't been able to put the finishes together. So is that going to save his job at Hendrick Motorsports next year? Maybe. I don't know. Is that going to get him a ride in a big league car next year? I don't know. But for right now, he can hold his head up saying he won the Brickyard 400.
It can't hurt, I don't think.
No.
I don't think it's going to hurt his resume to win the Brickyard 400 for
Absolutely
the first time
not.
ever. So, no, it's, there's so many rumors swirling. Will he be back next year? His contract goes through 2018. But, Rick Hendrick still keeps saying we don't know. We don't know what we're doing with the 5 cars.
Right.
So maybe he changed his mind with a Brickyard 400 win. I don't know. But he would not say after the race. All right. I personally think this year has been crazy. I mean, you look at some of the winners we've had this year. I mean, we started with Ryan Newman at Phoenix, then Stenhouse at Talladega, Austin Dillon in the Coke 600, Ryan Blaney at Pocono, of course, the last time we were at Pocono, and then, of course, Casey Kane. All of those massive surprises. Do you agree with that? That those were massive surprise wins this year?
I think some of them were surprise wins. I think Ryan Newman at Phoenix definitely was the biggest surprise win of the season. I felt like Austin Dillon had a chance to win. Ricky Stenhouse has been on the cusp of winning for a long time. And we've all talked about Ryan Blaney and him being close to win with the Wood brothers. Of course, now we know he's going to join Team Penske full-time in 2018. But he's still looking for another win for the Wood brothers, and it could come this weekend in Pocono again.
Kyle Busch, again, was a strong play last week at the Brickyard. He led 87 laps, but was tainted a bit because of a lap 110 caution that involved the 2 best cars on the racetrack, and that was Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch. They got into a wreck. Martin actually didn't fare on the good end of the fantasy points last week.
No.
He finished way down the back because he only led 8 laps in the race, where Kyle Busch still got the laps led. The top 5 in fantasy points last week were Matt Kenseth, who started 14th and finished 5th. Casey Kane was 2nd, qualified 19th, and won the race, of course. Brad Keselowski, A.J. Allmendinger, who was probably the sure bet play, I think, last week. And I don't know if he started A.J. Allmendinger, but he qualified 39th. And any time a car like that with that caliber qualifies in the back of the field, I think you're going to get some fantasy points. He finished 10th, and, of course, 29 passing points there. Notable mentions, Matt DiBenedetto finished 8th in the race, 6th in fantasy points. I started him at $5, which is a good play. Cole Witt, 7th in fantasy points. Timmy Hill was 8th in fantasy points. It was just, Chris Buescher 10th. It was a big week for the guys who avoided wrecks and finished at the front of the field.
And I was going to have some good points with Michael McDowell until he got caught right there at the end of one of those restarts.
He was solidly running in the top 5.
Yeah, he got caught in one of those crashes on the restarts over there on the front straightaway. But Michael McDowell was going to have a good day Sunday too.
I would not count on those guys being consistently in the top 10 on your fantasy team every week. But cautions bred cautions there towards the end of the race, as they say, and that's what happened. All right, coming up on the show today, Kurt Becker joins us after, he's going to get back on the road for MRN this week as we head to Pocono. He will anchor the truck race and will host NASCAR Live Race Day on Sunday afternoon for the Overton's 400 at Pocono. He'll be on the show. Also, we'll get a visit from Rango. He's been doing better than you. He will also try to go for 4 in a row and Under the Rock, baby. That's going to be it's going to be awesome. I'm going for the Grand Slam today.
You're not going to go 4 for 4.
What? y'all said it's going to be so hard last week, and then
Oh, we have upped the ante this week.
See, that's not fair.
Significantly.
I mean, is that how the rules go? If I get a bunch in a row, then you got to yank up the difficulty.
We'll see. Just take a break.
Anyways, after the break.
Hit me.
After the break, we'll play our side swipe, and we'll tell you who you should not and who you should start. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Summer Brake Deals event. Take advantage of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Do It Right rebate and get a $25 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and a pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
On September 9th, when the sun goes down and the lights come up, racing excitement under the Richmond night sky will be at its most electrifying. Don't miss the chaos of the final race of the 2017 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series season at Richmond Raceway. It's the Federated Auto Parts 400, where the first ever Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series regular season champion will be crowned. Buy your tickets at richmondraceway.com. Richmond Raceway, where chaos at every corner makes for a night that never ends.
Being there matters, and your United States Navy protects and defends America on the world's oceans. Around the globe, around the clock, Navy ships, submarines, aircraft, and, most importantly, tens of thousands of America's finest young men and women are ready to defend America when piracy threatens global commerce, when disaster strikes, or when called upon by the Commander-in-Chief. Your Navy is there. When it comes to protecting and defending America, being there matters, and America's Navy is already there.
Yay or nay, go or stay. It's time for the Inside Line to sideswipe the competition. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
As you mentioned in the last segment, Robbie, it was announced earlier this week that Ryan Blaney will drive for Team Penske next year in the 12 car. That actually moves Paul Menard from RCR to the Wood Brothers and will race full-time for the Wood Brothers next year. So potentially you might see a neon yellow 21 on the track next year.
That would look weird.
Yeah.
That would look really weird.
Be strange. But yeah, so Paul Menard will race for the Wood Brothers. Ryan Blaney will be a third car at Team Penske. All right, Sideswipe, we've been playing it here for the past 4 or 5 weeks. Y'all have enjoyed it, so we'll continue it. Daryl Smith, who is our first driver, will let Robbie go first.
I'll let you go first this week.
What?
Yeah, I went first last week.
All right, I guess I'll go first. Daryl, who do we got?
All right, we're going to go with Clint Boyer.
Clint Boyer crashed last week in Indy. Showed some speed. I would say probably a top 5 car, maybe somewhere in the top 7 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And we say when you go to Pocono, after Indy, so Pocono's 7 weeks ago, the last time we were there in June. Then we go to Indianapolis, a similar racetrack. At least one of the turns is similar to Pocono. Then you go back to Pocono. Clint Boyer would be an interesting start this week. If you're looking at price range, though, I think he costs too much. I think if he's somewhere over $20, right? Is that correct?
He's close to that mark,
He's probably not going to lead you any laps. I think he could maybe get you a top 10, but I'm going to say no on Clint Boyer just because of his price. Clint Boyer is a no for me this week. What do you think? No?
I actually agree with you.
Wow.
On that deal. Yeah.
I can't believe he actually agrees with me. All right, Daryl, who's Robbie's pick?
We're going to do Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney. This is easy. I'm swiping right on Ryan Blaney. He won here the last time we were at Pocono Raceway. We just talked about it. He's got a brand new contract with Team Penske for 2018. This team has been up and down a little bit since they won here at Pocono, but I feel like they're on an uptick right now. They were going to have a good finish Sunday at Indianapolis before that whole deal happened. I'm going to swipe right on driver 21.
I think that unlike Boyer, as I mentioned, I think Ryan Blaney's a good price. I think for his price, I think he's a steal. I'm not sure he leads a whole lot of laps this week. He was good, of course, won the race the last time we were Pocono. He was decent at Indy. He can become the 8th driver to ever sweep the weekend. And, of course, we're going to mention somebody later who did it in 2014. I think Ryan Blaney would be a decent start this week. I'm not sure he's going to be a top 3 car. I think that he'll be solid, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Who do we got here? Who's my second?
Eric Jones.
Eric Jones, third the last time we were at Pocono. This team needs something good to happen because they're slowly backpedaling out of the playoff picture with 2 bad finishes at Indianapolis last week and, of course, the week before. Like I said, he finished third at Pocono. If you listen to practice coming up tomorrow, you can hear an interview with Eric Jones that Woody Kane did, just talking about his season. He's going to Joe Gibbs Racing next year. I'm going to say no on Eric Jones this week. I think he's priced well. I think they're going to be a decent car this week. I'm not feeling Eric Jones this week, so I'm going to say no on Eric Jones.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I think Eric Jones, I think that team has gotten better. They just had a lot of bad luck. I think Pocono, the race on Sunday at Pocono is going to play out different than last weekend's at Watkins Glen will, or at Indianapolis will. I forgot where we were last week.
Of course it's going to play out differently. We had 8 cautions at the end of the race.
But my point is, I think that he has the ability to run in the top 10 again.
I think he has the ability to run in the top 10.
If he qualifies out of the top 10, definitely he's a good start. If he qualifies, 18th, 19th, 20th, he's a good start. And I think he's going to get another top 10 finish. So I'm going to contradict you, and I'm going to say swipe right.
What if he qualifies 8th to 5th?
If he qualifies 8th to 5th, no. If he qualifies out of the top 10, absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Robbie's second pick, third pick, what are we at?
Second pick.
All right, we're going to do Indy winner Casey Kane.
Indy winner Casey Kane. I'm going to say no on Casey Kane. We talked about it in the Open. It may have been a fluke win. I just don't see that team going to Pocono this weekend and contending. Last time we were at Pocono, they crashed. They had a brake failure and they crashed. Will that happen again? I don't think you're going to see a brake failure again out of the 5 car, but I also don't think you're going to see him run up in the front. Just the way that that team has been so up and down this year, I'm saying swipe left no on Casey Kane this week.
I'm not sure I like the word fluke win because these races are so hard to win. I mean, you can't take away Chris Buescher's win from last year at this race in Pocono. I don't think you can take away any of these. You can't take away Austin Dillon's Coke 600 win because he won on fuel mileage. The reason why Casey Kane won was because of track position. He got lucky on pit strategy. Keith Rodden made an absolute brilliant call. Keith Rodden should double his raise. He should get a double salary raise because of the call he made at Indianapolis, timing it perfectly, coming to pit road when the caution came out.
Yeah, if they hadn't been able to time it like that, though, would he have had the track position, though?
No,
exactly.
No, he wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But Chad Knaus has done that his entire career.
Well,
and I think we had one time this year where Kyle Larson was like, that 48 car just gets so lucky every time the caution comes out. Because for some reason, Chad Knaus has this feeling, or I don't know what it is, but he comes to pit road and the caution comes out. I don't know, but he's won tons of races like that. But I agree with you, though. Casey Kane, I don't think is a good start this week at Pocono. I think he's not going to have the speed as 10 others or 5 others or whatever. I think Casey Kane maybe will be a top 15 car if they have a good day. All right, Darrell Smith, who's on my third?
Let's go with Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth. Good run at Indianapolis.
Sure.
Probably the third best car before Truex and Kyle Busch wrecked.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought Kenseth was in the catbird seat to win the race when those two wrecked. It's so hard to pass at Indianapolis. You had 2 great cars, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. Those 2 were not going to be beat if it wasn't for that crash. But then those 2 crash, and you're thinking Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, who's going to be in there? But then Casey Kane gets the track position. I think Kenseth will be better this week. Kenseth has a win in the last 4 races. Actually, when Kyle Busch ran out of fuel in 2015, Kenseth won the race. I'm going to say I'll swipe right on Matt Kenseth this week. Now, let me preface it with this, though. I think Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. are better starts than Matt Kenseth. I think Kevin Harvick potentially is a better start than Matt Kenseth this week. I think Matt Kenseth will be the 4th best start this week if you're looking at the top tier of the starters in fantasy. So I would swipe right on Matt Kenseth this week.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wow, why are you agreeing with me all day?
Fine, don't swipe right on. Swipe left on it.
You don't have a good reason.
No. Who's
all
next?
Right, who's our third?
All right, the final, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I am going to swipe no on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. this weekend. I just don't think that team, I don't think he's got his mind in running well right now. I think they've had some struggles since they won at Daytona. He's in the playoffs. He's got 10 playoff points. So that's good. But I just don't see Ricky Stenhouse being a factor this weekend at Pocono. So I'm going to swipe no on Ricky Stenhouse.
I slightly disagree with you. And the reason is I thought Stenhouse had a really good car at Indy. And I thought Trevor Bayne had a good car at Indy. Stenhouse, of course, got caught up in a wreck with Jimmy Johnson. That was kind of, fault of his own. I think Stenhouse could be a good B-level start this week at Pocono. He finished 11th the last time we were there, and we've talked about it already. That race was only 7 weeks ago.
Right.
Hardly anything has changed. Well, no, when we get there, it's going to be 7 weeks.
All right, fine. It's going to be a little cooler this week than it was in June.
71 degrees. I'm going to love it. That's fat boy weather right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you look at the last time we were there, I think you can look at the top 10 and say these are going to be some solid starts. Ryan Blaney, of course, Kevin Harvick 2nd, Eric Jones 3rd, Kurt Busch 4th, Brad Keselowski 5th, Truex. He finished 6th. He started last because of an engine change. I think he was better than 6th. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, and of course Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished 11th. I think those 10 right there would be people you have to look at this week on your fantasy team.
I will say something about this in qualifying. We're qualifying Sunday morning this week, by the way. If you haven't heard, we'll talk to Kurt Becker about that here in a little while. 6 of the last 7 races, the winner has started inside of the top 10 at Pocono Raceway, but that doesn't mean anything. Passing here is a lot easier than it was in Indianapolis. So if your favorite driver doesn't start in the top 10, don't be worried about it on Sunday because you can pass a lot easier here than you can last week in Indy.
Before we go to break, give me your 2 must-starts this week.
78 and 18.
I'm
Martin Truex and Kyle Busch. Those 2 guys, they were going to win. One of them was going to win the race at Indianapolis last Sunday until they crashed. I'm continuing to put Kyle Busch on my team. I'm going to pick him as my winner. I'll go ahead and spoil it right now. I'm going to pick him as my winner until he wins a race.
Don't let Kyle Busch's finishes at Pocono and the fact that he's never won a race there stop you from starting him on your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Because last week I told you, and I was somewhat right. I mean, he finished 5th in points. You probably could have got away with starting Kyle Busch or not starting Kyle Busch and been all right. I mean, this guy leads laps at this. He led laps in June. He led 100 laps at Pocono, and you will be hurt if he leads all those laps and you don't start him. And I agree with Truex. I think Brad Keselowski, 4 top 5s in a row at Pocono, 3 of those podium finishes. He was 5th in June. I think Brad Keselowski is nearing must start. But Kyle Busch and Truex, I agree. All right, Kurt Becker is on the other side of the break. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice, Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP Auto Expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
1 bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
So what are your favorite drivers really thinking? We'll tell you each weekday on NASCAR Today, midday.
Getting married has been incredible. I wish I had figured all this out sooner.
Get the latest news from the sport and the opinions of NASCAR's biggest stars.
Changing over to Ford will open up some opportunities and possibilities and some just pure potential for the team.
That's NASCAR Today, midday. Weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
You know, one guy that we haven't mentioned throughout the show is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's in his last season. He's going to NBC next year to be on NBC's broadcast. We don't know what he's going to do on the broadcast. We don't know if he's going to be in the booth. I have a hard time thinking that they're not going to put him in the booth because why would you not put Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the booth? But this is his best racetrack, in my opinion, and especially a track that's not a restrictor plate track. If you look at Talladega, Daytona, yes, he's great there. But Pocono, I mean, by the numbers, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been great. Would you start Dale Earnhardt Jr. this week? I mean, he went on a string of what? So many top 5s.
Let's get to the guest on the phone and ask him.
We're going to ask him about this too. But he went on a tear of 6 top 5s in 7 races at Pocono from 2013 through June 2016.
I'm not starting him this weekend.
Kurt Becker's on the phone, and he is, of course, going to be hosting NASCAR Live Race Day on Sunday on the Overton's 400. He'll also anchor the truck race. Kurt, would you start Dale Earnhardt Jr. on your fantasy team this week?
You know, I would not.
By the way, hi, Kurt.
he said, like he was trying to be nice.
Well, first of all, it's good to be back with you guys. I know that you guys are right. Dale Jr.'s had his share of success at Pocono, but I'm just not feeling it. I just don't think that he's got the momentum. I just don't know. I know he swept both races about 3 years ago there, but personally speaking, no, I am not going to do that.
All right.
Thank you, Kurt.
Wow.
You're quite welcome.
Okay.
That'll be the last time we get along all weekend.
Sure. Speaking of this weekend, Kurt, we're trying something this weekend in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. Practice tomorrow, qualifying race on Sunday. Your thoughts on this experimental format that we have going on this weekend and also next weekend at Watkins Glen?
Well, one thing that you guys should have figured out by now, and I'm sure your listeners have figured out, is I don't have a clue when it comes to analyzing things like this.
Okay, yeah.
You should have just stopped as I don't have a clue.
I don't have a
That's
clue.
where you should have stopped.
Well, I remember a year or two ago, we were at Michigan for the August race, and Tyler was producing, and we were covering practice, and I can't remember even what the discussion was, but at some point, Jeff Striegel and I, on the air, got into some lengthy analysis, and I don't recall if it was the playoff picture or what it was, but I remember as we were on the elevator coming downstairs, Tyler turned to me and he said, you didn't have a clue what you were talking about during that whole segment, did you?
And you agreed.
And I agreed. It's always good to get support from your producer, but Robbie, with all that said, I'm often a skeptic. I'm one of these people that when we try something new, I'll raise an eyebrow. I will admit I did that when NASCAR came up with the stage racing this year. But quite often, once I see it in play, I'll kind of nod my head and say, yeah, maybe that does make sense. So I don't know. I'm curious just to see and analyze it as we go.
You get an extra day with Dum Dum, your cat, though.
Well, that's true. For those of you that have pets, you know that if you travel a great deal, when you drag out the rollerboard, pets are not stupid. They know what's going on. I always say that she mopes around and gets depressed. My cat does. Our colleague Steve Post, he always says that he thinks it's the opposite. He thinks that when I'm on the road, Dum Dum invites the other neighborhood animals over, and they're having a big party and grinding nachos into the carpet.
Yeah, I'm with him on that.
You gain an extra day with Dum Dum, but you lose an extra day with us Dum Dum. So I guess it works out for you in the end. Kurt, we've talked about a lot of drivers today. One driver we have not mentioned one time today, Tyler, is Kyle Larson. His worst finish at Pocono in 7 career starts is 11th. Is Kyle Larson a good pick this weekend?
I think Kyle Larson is a good pick this weekend only because he not only has a pretty solid record there, but he is. I don't care where we go this year. It seems like that he's one of just a few drivers that has seemed to be able to be consistently good on about any type of track under any circumstance all season long. I think that the 42 definitely merits a strong look this weekend.
Yeah, I lied. His worst finish is 12th, but
yeah,
still.
I was going to call you out, but I was going to be that guy.
Yeah.
His best starting spot in the last 3 weeks has been 27th, which in fantasy play is good because last week if he wouldn't have got caught up in a wreck, he passed a lot of cars to get up into the top 10, and then of course the last 2 weeks he was one of the best fantasy plays starting at the tail. Kurt, you look at some other guys. Team Penske. Team Penske's struggling right now. We saw Joey Logano did he get a top 5 last week. Brad Keselowski finished second in the race. Is this a turning point for Team Penske right now? Brad Keselowski's great at Pocono, but they've struggled through this summer stretch. Do you think they can turn it around?
Ooh, that's I think back to when the Xfinity Series ran at Pocono back in June. Brad, of course, had a very solid run that day. He was absolutely among the best of the best, and ended up with that pass on the final lap and going to victory lane. Granted, that was a different series, but I remember sitting there that day and thinking, as that race unfolded, that as unusual as that triangular flat layout is at Pocono, Brad is somebody that seems comfortable with it. He's not one of these drivers that seems to have to spend all day trying to figure out what he's going to do in which corner. He seems to go out and actually attack the track. I think Brad definitely merits some at least a look. As far as Joey goes, I don't know. That's a head scratcher. They just have struggled so much since the incident that happened earlier this year with the encumbered win at Richmond. And I don't know. I know that Todd Gordon is a guy that can roll the dice. And, you think about Pocono, it's often a fuel mileage track. I'm sure he can come with something up his sleeve. But if you're going to pin me down on Team Penske, I would probably give the nod to Brad this weekend over Joey.
Yeah, Joey 23rd and 37th in his last two races at Pocono Raceway. Kurt, we're running out of time, thankfully. Who's your winner on Sunday?
My winner on Sunday, gosh darn. I tell you what I'm going to do is I think I am going to say that this is finally the weekend that Kyle Busch gets all of the bad luck and tough breaks behind him. And I think finally things fall his way and he goes to victory lane.
Wow, that's very shocking. I mean, not everyone else is going to pick him as well. Kurt, enjoy your final moments with Dum Dum before you go to Pocono. And we'll see you at the Tricky Triangle, Saturday? No, yeah, we're going to be, Friday night into Saturday, so it's going to be a little bit later than usual. Thankfully, I get 24 hours less with you this week.
Well, fellas, it's always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you both. We'll have some fun out in Long Pond, Pennsylvania.
Kurt Becker, everyone, joining us here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. Thanks to Kurt. Some good perspective on Team Penske and what's going on over there. Of course, as we heard in the last segment, Ryan Blaney is going to Team Penske next year with Paul Menard going to the Wood Brothers. All right, one final break. We'll come back. I'll go for 4 in a row and Under the Rock, and I'm going to hit a grand slam. That's all coming your way on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
It's almost the most refreshing time of the day. Busch O'Clock, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going fishing, nothing is better when it's time to relax with a crisp, cold Busch. It's Busch O'Clock, so grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for the cooler, start the grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Busch Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
O'Reilly.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
And that you're supposed to be having fun.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
The Superman colors with Jimmy Johnson.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
So I have to challenge myself more to stay balanced with my personal and professional life.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
We now return to the Inside Line with Robbie and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Robbie Mays. He is a ridiculous person. And it's time to play our favorite game of the week, Under a Rock or That Guy.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
All right, so you have, for some number 2 pencil malfunction the last couple of weeks, gotten these right for 3 weeks in a row. That ends today.
Okay.
This is a photograph of an actor. Name the actor. He's from Pennsylvania.
I can't name actors.
Well, too bad. So, Daryl, Donald, let's cue it up. Let's play Under a Rock or Tyler.
Where's my hard hat? I have no clue who that man is. No clue.
No clue.
No, not even a single guess. I mean, is his name Steve?
No.
Like, who?
No.
I've never seen that man in my life.
That's Charles Bronson.
Yeah, I don't know who Charles Bronson is.
Charles Bronson was born in Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania. He was famous for The Magnificent Seven, The Dirty Dozen, The Great Escape, Once Upon a Time in the West.
Never seen a single one of those movies. You could have
Death
put him
Wish.
in a lineup
Forgot about
of
Death
just random people, and I couldn't even tell you which one was famous out of the lineup.
I know who is famous. Rango Fowler. Let's go. Come on, Rango.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Come on, Rango.
I don't even know who that guy is.
I'm not surprised.
I've never heard of him in my life.
I'm not surprised. Bye, Rango.
See, that's what's wrong about this segment.
Hey, man. Hate the player, not the game.
I get 3 in a row, and you guys just put this ridiculous person on there that no one, like, I don't even heard of those movies.
Hate the player, not the game.
What are the movies again?
Watch the replay. We have on Rango's team Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr., Michael McDowell, David Reagan. His winner, surprise, surprise, that might be a leftover from last week, but it's Kyle Busch, and his manufacturer is a Toyota.
He's definitely going to beat you this week. I like his team. I'm okay with Jimmy Johnson. I like Kyle Busch. I think Truex, you have to start those two.
I was surprised to see the 48.
If Michael McDowell qualifies in the top 15, no.
We were here in June. He qualified 12th.
Yeah, I would not start Michael McDowell if he's in the top 15. All right, who's your winner?
All right, so if Kurt has the 18, Rango has the 18, give me the 78.
The 78.
Martin Truex.
For Robbie Mays. I'll take the 4. I think Kevin Harvick wins. I don't actually think this. I think Kyle Busch is going to win, but
I do too.
But I'm going to be different. I think Kevin Harvick wins.
Because I don't want you to accuse me of stealing everybody else's answer.
Whatever. Tomorrow on MRN, Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. NASCAR. Check 1 2. Cup Series practice at Pocono, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, Overton's 150 from Pocono. That's 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Sunday, the Overton's 400 qualifying at 11:30. And then, of course, the race at 2. Final thoughts.
Looking forward to going to Pocono. Don't forget, we've also got Iowa on Saturday afternoon for the Xfinity Series.
Watch the Richard Petty Road to Royalty podcast on MRN.com. Also, enjoy the weekend. All the coverage from MRN.com. We'll talk to you next week as we go road course racing at Watkins Glen International.
You've been listening to the Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.